Hello, my name is Rocky Deutscher. I've been a Master Gardener since 2009. Currently I'm working in this greenhouse as a volunteer. In the past I've been Vice President of Programs. I've worked in probably all the gardens that we have at the projects, and this is my favorite place to work. Sue and I are both propagation specialists, and we've taken the greenhouse advanced training classes.
My name is Sue Kelly, and I'm really glad to be here today, and welcome to everybody who's watching this. I was in the class of 2011, and as Rocky said, we had experience in most of the projects that the association sponsors, but like Rocky, I ended up here because I really do like it. Our lead is Pat Higgins. She's very good and very easy to be around. When we make mistakes, it's okay.
This is where we do the majority of our work. This is the working greenhouse. And here we have plants that we have started. These are the heat mats that we turn on in the winter to keep the plants and the seedlings warm. We also have overhead irrigation, and we have irrigation under the benches. So all of these plants will get irrigated on a timer. I'm going to take you down here and show you the different plants that we have. This is how we start them. This is called a community pot, where we plant several seeds in here and watch them grow, and they're growing very slowly. But this is what it looks like when they're grown and they're ready to be bumped up. We call it bumping up when we take small segments of the community pot and bump it up to a 4-inch pot. As you can see, here's the smaller 4-inch pots, and then we keep bumping them up to larger pots, similar to this one. This is another pot that's been bumped up from a smaller pot. And these are ready to be moved over to the shade house, where they will be stored when they're ready for sale. We use these plants in here in our propagation class, and we also put them up for sale in our plant sale. If you will walk down here, I'll show you the different types of pots that we use. This is a community pot. This is the next up. This one, and this is the final pot. We use this in our propagation class to teach them how to plant seeds in these deep cell containers, and that's so that their roots can get really long and established before they move them up into another pot. We typically wash and sterilize all our pots in here. We have a sterilizing solution that we make up, and we clean the pots, dip them in the solution, and put them out to dry. And when they're dry, we store them at the other end of the greenhouse on those racks.
The Tarrant County Master Gardener Association has partnered with the Tarrant Regional Water District to encourage water conservation. TRWD maintains 4 area lakes and pipelines needed to provide surface water to local water treatment plants so they can clean that water to meet drinking standards for our communities. They also work with many cities in Tarrant County, such as Fort Worth, Arlington, Mansfield, and many others, to provide water conservation programs to the community. Conservation is an important water supply strategy to help meet the needs of our growing population. There are currently 2.3 million people living in Tarrant County, and this is expected to double over the next 50 years. At SaveTarrantWater.com, you can sign up for free weekly watering advice custom to your location. If you're a resident of Tarrant County, you can sign up for a free sprinkler's checkup, where a licensed irrigator comes to your home, provides a comprehensive evaluation of your system with recommendations to reduce water waste. There's also an event calendar where you can find information about future classes and workshops. So be sure and check out SaveTarrantWater.com to sign up for their free services.
These are our succulents, and they don't need as much water and irrigation as the plants that we're growing over there. And we use these also in plant sales. We have all those pots that you see down there those are all done from these, and they're for sale. Anybody who wants to buy them. The succulents will, on the bottom and on the top, just get a smattering of water every once in a while. We also label all our plants. We put the name of the plant and the date it was bumped up. So that's in all our plants. This is Mother of Millions, and when it's bumped up, I call it Mother of Billions because it's more and more. I think that's about it for the greenhouse. As far as, we have fans, we have a heater. When we grow vegetables, when we were growing vegetables for the schools, we would weigh them on that. Sue, anything else?
The heater up here.
Oh yeah, here's the heater, and then we have the fan. And this is a lovely place to work because in the winter it's warm, and in the summer when you go outside, we do most of our work outside. In the summer, it's pretty breezy and cool. And we have the mesh on the doors, so it's always air circulating throughout the building.
I wanted you all to, Rocky and I wanted you all to meet Pat Higgins. Pat is the lead of the greenhouse and the hook house and the mother bed and a whole bunch of other stuff around here. She's very good and gives us, we work every Tuesday, she gives us instruction, has it planned, and his plans as well as whatever materials we need for us to do on that work day. Pat was one of the leads or she was here, I think I mentioned that, when the greenhouse was put together. I think the only reason Rocky and I are talking because we have big voices. But anyway, we're so glad that we have Pat. She's an excellent resource. And as I think I mentioned earlier, we do have a really good core group of people who come every week. Everybody in here every Tuesday, we are volunteers and have other lives, but most, pretty good attendance. Anyway, we're glad that we're a part of this. I was going to mention about the hook house before we go in. And this is, as Rocky described it, really is a shade house. You can see it's covered in shade cloth. The difference between the two of them is this is more of an airtight. This is not. This doesn't have it has no fans but it does have irrigation. This project also began in 2008. Matt tells me that it was finished every time they had an advanced greenhouse class, they did a little bit more work. So this is really a long, great house. As Rocky had already mentioned, many plants come from this greenhouse over here. This keeps all of our perennials because they should survive the winter. I mean, we try to have things that are going to be appropriate for our cold hardiness zone. As I said, it is irrigated, and we even have benches on the outside of it on the other side because we get really into this propagation and maybe grow a lot of things. But many of these things will be used throughout the resource connection. They have provided some of the plugs that we bump up and then grow, and then we'll plant them around the property. And then, as Rocky said, we'll use them for our plant sale. Many of these things we buy ourselves. Master gardeners are our best customers.
This is our shade house where we store the plants that are ready for sale or ready to be planted in various places around the resource connection. As you can see, these are the misters that will go on automatically and mist these plants. Because it's open and it's quite windy out here, as you can see, it's very pleasant. Sometimes the mist doesn't get to a plant. So some of us come out periodically and make sure the plants are all watered. These bars up here, we can hang plants from them. And these are all the different plants that we have for sale. You want to show them? Excuse me. As the plants get bigger, we stake them to make sure that they grow straight and not flop over. Sue, you want to talk about some other plants?
These are Mexican buckeyes that we planted from seed. We scarified them and planted them, and we're so proud of this just because we did create this really nice plant. One of the things about the shade house now, in the winter, won't be much longer, we'll cover this with poly just to hold the heat, because this really becomes a place in the wintertime. As I said, most of these are all perennials, so they're going to survive if they're in the proper hardiness zone. But that helps. It does help to keep them a little warmer, as well as the people who are working here. We have a core group of gardeners who work here on Tuesdays, master gardeners, and then a smaller group that come to double check. With Rocky mentioned the misters, you can see with this tall foliage, a lot of times just because of all these leaves, the plants in the back aren't going to get as much water as they need. So we're here with a hose, just double checking so we don't lose anything. And we come every other day when it's really hot. Now it certainly won't be that way in the winter time.
This is our mother bed. It was started by Pat Lovejoy when she was the lead. And we use it mainly for the propagation class to show them different aspects of propagation, such as division. It really needs some care. We have to get out here. We've been busy in the greenhouse, but we'll have some time now to get out here and fix it up a little better than what it looks like now. Sue, do you want to talk some more about the plants?
What the aim was, as she said, was to provide cuttings and division and seed for the plants that we'll be using to propagate in the greenhouse. Pat Lovejoy, and was very careful, and Pat Higgins as well, to put plants in here that people would desire and that would be easier for us to propagate. So this has been very helpful. I never heard of mother bed in my whole life until this, but what a perfect thing to have your plant that you can take from and take from and take from. So that's exactly what this is.
If you don't have a greenhouse, or you live in an apartment, or your yard doesn't have the place to put a greenhouse, there's many places you can grow small plants. You can use your laundry room, you can use a kitchen counter, a windowsill, you can put a grow light up. What I would suggest you do if you're going to start from seeds is when you get a seed packet, first of all, read all the directions on the back because they are so full of information. But I would suggest that you take 10 seeds out of that packet, put it on a damp paper towel, fold it up, put it in a plastic bag, wait about 5 or 6 days, open it up and look to see how many seeds have germinated. If you get 7 out of the 10, that's a good batch of seeds. And so then you can plant them in a community pot as we showed you, and then bump them up to little 4-inch pots as they grow. It's so easy to do, it really is. It just takes a little patience, time, and the love of growing things.
That's exactly right. And not everybody's going to have a place for a mother bed. And as Rocky, I think, has mentioned, this is a demonstration garden, so we want to show you what is available to do. But when you get to your house, you may not have a place you want to put that kind of thing. But that's another way that you can do plants in your own home. You can even have, it can be very small. Harbor Freight has really kind of cool greenhouses you can use. And there's a cold frame. You may have heard of that. It's the thing where it's in the ground, it has a window, and it reflects the sun, and you can even grow vegetables in there. So there are many ways to have greenhouses or mini greenhouses in your own place. Ask them to come see us.
I really would love to invite you all to come visit us, come tour the garden. You can come through the gate, that beautiful wrought iron gate, and just walk around. Come on a Tuesday when we're out here working and see what we do. It's so much fun and so exciting. And it's a really good group of people. And as you can see, there's always a breeze.